Hi,
Your name?
I'm Garnet Bruce, and I'm here in Madison for the first time directing La Traviata.
Oh, I am Giuseppe Varano. I was born in south of Italy. I come from Milan, and this is my debut in USA.
I'm Elizabeth Caballero, Violetta. This is my third time in Madison, and that's it.
My name is Donnie Ray Albert. I play the father to ALFREDO. I am GERMONT in this opera. This is my second time to Madison, once with the opera and once with the symphony orchestra.
Very good. La Traviata. It's based on the story by Alexandre Dumas fils, and it chronicles Violetta Valerie in her last days. She has consumption, and she is living life to the hilt, and she meets and falls in love with a young man named ALFREDO. Things get better, but then the father says that the relationship must end for the sake and good of the family name. She agrees unwillingly and finds herself near death, and ALFREDO does return, promising to take them away from Paris and all of this, but it is not enough.
Of course, I am Alfredo. I think that he's a pure person who lives in a corrupt society and follow hypocrisies. He decided to fall in love with Violetta, not for her body as the rest of the men in the society, but for soul.
And I think what I can bring in of myself to Violetta is probably the feeling of youthfulness, because I refuse to grow old. And I think Violetta, who she was 20, the character was 23 when she died, reading the book once again and getting all this stuff in my head. She was very, very young, and I love the moments that Garnet is letting me do, just letting her feel very youthful and very, what's the word, impulsive, you know, with her moments of, you know, like you're letting me bring in a little bit of my own rage, my own Cuban temperament in it, so it's fantastic. Well, I think Violetta is a very carefree character, and which is why she's in the predicament that she is in, why she dies and is dying young. She's always lived her life one day at a time, you know, carpe diem, that's how she's lived. And for her to, when she gets involved with ALFREDO, I don't know if she's probably in love with him, but I think she is in love with the idea of love and the idea of the escape of this life that she has gotten to know as her everyday life. And ALFREDO, to her, signifies much more than love, signifies health and youth and everything that she's wanted for so long and never could ever have.
What is the reason that ALFREDO leaves home? It's a question that I ask myself in trying to develop some sort of character behind when you first see him approaching this woman. I would assume that given the times, he probably butted heads with his son quite often and frequently. And the son was probably, ALFREDO was probably fed up with the whole mess of being around the father, and they were constantly at each other, so he just left. So I would say that I was an overbearing father, keeping a very tight grip on everything about my son and about his sister, and knowing that there's an arranged marriage about to happen, and all of a sudden he's gone away, and I hear rumors of what's happening behind all of this, so I approach the woman that he's supposedly with.
We're in an environment designed by Desmond Healy and lit by Christine Binder, and Desmond has taken French Impressionism to a grand scale across 50 feet of stage with detailed costumes for detailed characters, but they all have a gauzy feel about them. So there's a bit of a memory play within the whole piece. and layers upon layers that tease the eye a little bit as the light comes and goes from them. And it sets a surrounding mood that allows us to punctuate it with the reality of music and people communicating ideas and emotions directly. Well, we should also add that John has been very good about taking us all back to the details in the score. Verdi was an architect and gave us structure and balance that oftentimes we lose sight of in our emotional journey through these pieces. And it's been fantastic this week working with all of you and John to have that dialogue and back and forth to understand why it's a dot or why it comes here instead of there. So
Yeah.
it's part of any dialogue.
Verdi gave a lot of us singers during his time and forevermore a lot of work. And he was a caring composer. He was a singer's composer. He knew the voice. He knew what he wanted specifically out of those voices. He identified with the social aspects of what was going on, the political aspects of what was going on, the religious aspects of what was going on, because I feel that deeply. There's a story of him when he was a youngster playing around. He fell into a well. And a passerby, had not the passerby come and heard his cries for help, he probably would have drowned in the well. So there's a reason for everything. So out of that comes his spiritual being.
Well, I feel that La Traviata is a great first opera because, well, first of all, it's a grandiose sets and great costumes and it's very, very calling for the eye. If you've never seen an opera before, you're going to see lots of beautiful costumes and people and stuff running around. And immediately, as soon as the opera begins, a few minutes, you are going to recognize the tune, the Libbiamo. Many people who haven't seen opera before have heard that tune either in movies or in commercials or sitcoms when they sing the very famous drinking song. And also I think the Sempre Libero tune has been used a lot recently in a lot of these movies and commercials and stuff. So, and besides all that, it's just a great story of a young woman, just trying to survive and falling in love and not being very successful. So I think a lot of young women can maybe relate to that, although not so drastically, but it's...
we can hope.
We can hope.
There is penicillin now.
There is. But it's just a beautiful story with great music and wonderful music and good singing.
Amen. For me, La Traviata is a great first opera because it tells the story of one woman's journey. And you see her against things that she can control and things that she cannot. And for that reason, it's easy to follow her. And if you ever wanted to know what emotion in music sounded like, Verdi gave you hundreds of examples on every page of this score. Hear it live.